Hello everyone. So today we are continuing with our sessions linked lists. In the previous video we had discussed about the linked lists, its features, and now we are going to look on the various types of linked lists as well as the different operations that can be performed on a linked list. Dear students, first in today's video we will look at the insert operation and the various anomalies that may arise during the insert operation in a singly linked list. So dear students, let us look at the various types of linked lists and the different operations that can be performed on a linked list. So as far as the types are concerned, we have singly linked lists, doubly linked lists, and circular linked lists. However, a circular linked list can be of singly circular as well as doubly circular lists. Here in this video we are going to discuss about singly linked lists. Let us look at the structure of a linked list and then we will move towards the various operations that can be performed on a linked list. Dear students, so let's move towards the implementation. So as far as a linked list is concerned, it consists of different nodes that forms a linked list. So here a node have basically two parts, that is, the first part is the data part and the second part is the link part. This data part holds the value and the link part holds the address of subsequent node in the list. So similarly, if we have multiple nodes in a linked list, then the structure somehow goes like this. Suppose we have values A, B and C stored at different memory locations like 1002, 1028, 1040. Now since it is a linked list, every node will have the address of its subsequent, its next node. So here node A will have the address of node B, that is 1028. Node B will have address of node C, that is 1040, and node C will not have address of any node because we do not have any node after this node C. Hence this C will have null in its link part. This means the list has ended. We do not have any further nodes in the given list. Now the structures becomes like this. Here, to maintain the startup of this list, we maintain a variable or a pointer known as start. It may be anything. We can give name as A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z, whatever we desire, but for our convenience we are giving its name as start because the list starts from here. Similarly, when we move further in this session, we will have a deep analyzing of this structure. So dear students, let us go through the slides where we can have the implementation. Okay. So this was the problem that we had left out in the previous session, that is to storing a list of prime numbers in a given list. the range was from 2 to 10 lakh. It is a huge range. Hence, the number of prime numbers will be very much. Now suppose this is the linked list with 2, 3, 5 and 7 as the values in the given list. So when a new prime number is generated, it should be inserted at the end of the list, that is after 7. Hence, initially when the list is empty, the start contains null. This algorithm will give us the same structure that we have discussed earlier with the session. Now suppose initially the list is empty, hence start will be null. Now the prime number is generated as 2. So we will allocate memory for this new node. Then we will assign value to the data field of new node. Now we will check. If start is null, then make start pointer point to new node and go to step number 6. Since start is null, so start will point to this new node and we will move to step number 6. What is step number 6? Make the next field of the new node point to null. Next field of new node point to null. That is, this is the only node in the list. Hence, the link part, the address part will have null. Similarly, when 3 arrives, we will store it. Now, checking in the third step. So the third step, if start is null, then make start point to new node. Is start null? No. Here, start is pointing to the first node in the sequence. Hence, we will not enter into this step. We will directly move to step number 4, where it is saying locate last node in the list and mark it as current node. So we have to locate which is the last node in the particular list, after which a new node is to be inserted. So to locate the last node, we will go through the sub-algorithm. So mark the first node as current node. So this one will be marked as current. Repeat step number C until the successor of current node becomes null. Until the successor of current node becomes null. Means the next field of this current. So we will have to search for current node next is equal to null. So this is the condition which we are looking for. If we reach to this condition, then we can insert a new node in the given linked list. So here and after that we will make the current node point to next node in the sequence. And the next thing is make next field of current node point to new node. So next field of current node point to new node. So since we have only one node in this linked list, so we are already at this particular position, hence we can directly make the next field of current node, that is this one, point to the new incoming node, that is new node. And after that, at the end, we will have to end up this list by adding a null to the next part of new node. So this is the algorithm, dear students, which can be used to insert an element at the end of the given list. But this algorithm is having some anomaly. We will look at those anomaly later in this session. So I am going to skip all these things. So now it is 5. Now see, consider a list of 10,000 numbers. Now to insert a number at the end of the list, you first need to locate the last node in the list. To reach the last node, you have to start from the first node and visit all the preceding nodes before you reach the last node. So if we have 10,000 elements, and to store the later elements, we need to perform as many comparisons as well as many alterations to reach the desired position. So this approach is very much time consuming when the given list is very large. Therefore, a better approach is to declare variable last, which will store the address of last node in the list. Hence, you need to maintain two variables. So during the starting, we had already maintained a start variable which was keeping track of the startup of the list. Now we can also maintain a variable known as last, which will always point to the last node in the list. So if the list is empty, the start as well as last will point to the same value, which is null. So here refer to this algorithm. So here this algorithm will insert a node at the end of the list, initially considering that the list is empty. Since the list is empty, start is also null and last is also null. Now insert a prime number 2. So first we will allocate memory for the new node, we will assign value to the new node, and then we will check if start is null. If it is null, then make start point to the new node. It points to the new node. Make last also point to the new node. Point it to new node, and then go to step number 6. Step number 6 says make next field of new node point to null, the address part to null, because it is the only element. Okay, skipping some steps here. So we have the next one as 5, assigning 5. Now checking if start is null. No, start is not null because it is pointing to the first node in the sequence. So we will move to the next step. Make next field of last point to new node. So there is already a variable or a pointer last, which is maintaining the last node or pointing to the last node in the given list. Hence, it will directly point to the new node. And then the step number 5 is marking the new node as the last node. So this last will move to 5 to maintain the end of list. And after that, making the next part of new node as null to end the list. So this was the algorithm to insert an element at the end of the list, that is singly linked list. Now another problem. Suppose you have to store the marks of 20 students in ascending order. Now how will you solve this problem? So here we have a restriction. What are those restrictions? We have to store marks of 20 students as well as the marks must be, or the name must be in ascending order. So we need to maintain the order also. So here we have an algorithm considering the array to solve this problem. Okay. Here. So to discuss this problem, rather than going to the slides, we will discuss it using the whiteboard. Suppose we have an array. Let us make it a little larger. Okay. So here let's say 10, 15, 20 and so on. This is index number 0, index number 1, index number 2 and so on. Assuming the name of this array is ARR. Now since we have to store the marks or values in ordered manner, that is in ascending order, and if a request arrives, that is we need to store 12 in this list. So to store 12 we first need to locate the position. So what will be the position for this incoming value? It will be at index number 1. But this index number is not empty. So what to do? We need to perform multiple or several shifting operations. That is, since we need to store 12 over here, we will have to shift these elements one place to the next indexes. And then we will be able to make place for 12. Now, if a huge amount of requests arrives and each of those requests involves shifting of the elements, then it would be very much time consuming and the algorithm's efficiency will be very low. Hence, it will not be advisable to use such algorithms. Now here, as far as array is concerned, it cannot provide us any such mechanism by which we can directly insert an element at its correct position, because when we declare an array, we have to allocate memory for it. That is, it follows static allocation of memory allocation, while the same problem can be overcome by using a dynamic data structure. So which one is a dynamic data structure? A linked list is a dynamic data structure which will overcome these limitations. So let us come back to the slides. We will have a look at the same problem in a faster manner. Let us go through this. So here we have some insert operations. 10 getting stored over here, then 20, then 17 comes. So for 17, this index number 1 is the correct position. Hence we need to shift 20 to the next position and then we can store 17 over here. So you can, okay. So what was the problem? We had already discussed. So to insert an element at any position other than the end of the list, there is an additional overhead of shifting all succeeding elements one position forward. Similarly, to delete an element at any position other than the end of the list, you need to shift the succeeding elements one position backwards. So insert operation is also not much more beneficial, and so as the delete operation. So when the list is very large, this would be very much time consuming, and from the preceding example we can conclude that the insert and delete operations at any position other than the end of the list of an array is complex as well as inefficient. So how we will overcome this limitations? So by using a data structure that does not require shifting of data elements after every insert or delete operations. So we have the linked list which will provide us such flexibility. Now let us solve the given problem by using a linked list. So here, suppose we have the linked list with 10, 15, 17 and 20 as a value. The linked list needs to be created in ascending order of the values, the same problem which we had just solved using an array. So therefore the position of new node in the list will be determined by the value contained in the ing node. Let us have a question. So write an algorithm to locate the position of a new node to be inserted in a linked list where the nodes need to be stored in the increasing order of values contained in them. So dear students, now we are going to discuss an algorithm which is much more important for us because it will give us the position where the insert or delete operation will be performed in a given linked list. That is, it will locate the actual position of the new node in the existing list. So here we have the algorithm for locating the position of a new node in the list. So let us have a look. This is the list and we need to locate position for 16 in this list. So what we will do, make a current pointer which will point to the first node in list and another pointer previous which will point to null. Now repeat step number 4 and 5 until the current.info means the information held by current node becomes greater than the information held by new node, that is 16, or the current becomes equal to null, that is the list ends. Next, make previous point to current. So this previous variable will follow the current variable. Next, make the current point to next node in sequence. So current will equals to current dot next, or current will point to the next node in the sequence. So current moves and then previous follows it. Next, again the current will move. Now, since current is at 17 and previous is at 15 and we have 16 to be inserted, so the position of 16 will always be between 15 and 17. Now look at this condition. Current node dot info, that is information held by current node 17, becomes greater than the new node dot info, that is 16. So this condition is met, hence the loop will end over here and we have located the position of new node, that is 16. Hence the 16 will be inserted in between 15 and 17. So after locating the positions, we can perform the insert operation either at the beginning of the list or the end of list, which we had already seen, or between two nodes in the given list. So dear students, in the next video we will look at these operations. Thank you.